I want to talk about the fact that we don't really have reporting going on in the United States. So if you think about, like, what are reporters doing? They're making money and they're lying. Okay, that's what on television. That's what's going on. You have people who are lying and they're making money. But alternatively, do we have an alternative? Alternative reports coming from people. Like, hey, are there reporters out there telling you about what's going on? And they're saying, surely there is. You have people making their little YouTube videos and this and that. I can think of a few different people heard about, like, supposedly doing like some kind of like updated live street reports about what's going on in their neck of the woods. But even that is not going on anymore. We don't see it. Like we had the Chinese premier come to the United States. They had cleaned up San Francisco, right? Now there was no real reporting. It's a pretty big city. There's no real reporting on what actually happened there, because the rumors were that they disappeared a bunch of people. Okay, that's the rumors, and we're talking about thousands of people. Okay, and that they were gone. And what happened to them? Now, what actually happened? I think that the fact that there's not really any reporting going on, we could see that the rumors are likely. Okay, because there's an absence of the report. And what's the responsibility of people? Who's doing what they're who's being responsible with what's going on in society, okay? And the concept of having responsibility, therein lies the issue. We have a religious-minded people who are claiming there is no responsibilities. There's no evidence, there's no reality. This is what these people are saying. There's no evidence, there's no reality, there's no truth, and there are no responsibilities. But it's not a shortage of real people who are promulgating that idea. Like, did Jesus say, hey, don't take any responsibilities. I'm being crucified here, so therefore people shouldn't have any responsibilities? That's not what Jesus said. Did Jesus say, hey, be a pacifist? Let the profane desecrate society? Oh, no, Jesus never said that, actually. Okay, this is an important thing to realize, that the gaslighters are kind of telling you, yes, that's what it is. There's no more responsibilities, and we are supposed to allow the profane to desecrate humanity. That's our obligations. Because you look at the concept of the U.S. military committing war crimes worldwide. And further, the complicity of the population. As Americans, what responsibility do Americans have with what their military is doing? See, in reality, it's quite simply, the people are supposed to be responsible for that. That's reality. Jesus would tell you that. George Washington would tell you that. There's no shortage of real people telling you this. But in our modern society, nobody is saying this. We have the celebrity academics completely guilty in being complicit. They're selling complicity to the public. They're bragging about their intellect and their creativity and their wonderfulness of character. This is what you're hearing over and over from these people. They're patting themselves on their back, saying we are the best, and they're going to solve the moral issue by castigating some specifics. I'm saying that they're going to who are they castigating? They're wagging their finger at Chuck Schumer. They're wagging their finger at Nancy Pelosi. They're wagging their finger at Donald Trump. They're wagging their finger at P. Diddy. That's not a resolution, but it's a crime that they're doing. They're actively in criminality with what they're doing, because they're really priding themselves, and they're abdicating responsibility. They're making money, they're selling books, but they're clearly priding themselves. They're really very proud. Their audience is cheering them on and going, you are the most brilliant, moral people in the planet's history. But it's actually not true, because in reality, we should be discussing the responsibility of the American population. Like, hey, if the American military is out there creating all these problems worldwide, the American people have a responsibility just by law, by reason. It's the fact of how things are. You're complicit. When you see murder taking place in the public streets, okay, That is how law is. Jesus never said, hey, there's no laws. There's no laws. Hey, be a selfish liar. That's all. It's all good now. That's not what he said. But that is our modern American population. They are religious in the fact that they're taking no responsibilities. And they're really all partaking in grift and in selfish adulation. They're being the spirit of what is worst in people. That's what they're exemplifying it, and it's in our current world state. The people who are proposing themselves as brilliant moralists are completely lacking human sense. There's no human sense in what they're doing, because what it is the United States military is out there going crazy roughshod over the world, and the American people are complicit, and all of these celebrity academics, they're complicit too. They're like, how direct of a problem is it that they're doing? It's the whole core issue right there. And then we can look at what Jesus had to say about these topics too, because it's really related, and that's a discussion for another time.